Oh. Uh, can you hear me?
I can hear
Hello.
you sound and you look great.
Thank you. I'm in my sister's room because she's not here
Hey guys.
for now. Whoa.
You made it.
Okay, so let's see. You guys have any photos for tonight? I was thinking. Okay, also, I want to talk about A Bug's Life, but I also want to talk about Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure.
You know, George Carlin is also in Dogma.
Wow. And he's in
And Bill and Ted's, right?
and he's in Bug's Life?
Yeah.
Is he?
He's in Cars, but he's not, the first one.
That's not
But
a Bug's Life though.
It's not. It's a
Bug's
Car
Life.
Life.
Let's see.
A Car Life.
Well, we all know Kevin Spacey and what he did. He's a bad guy.
Mm-hmm.
Here's a picture of I just found it of the director of Bug's Life from that time.
John Lasseter. Oh yeah, there he is.
That's him.
Spitting image.
That's the fashion that was very fashionable at that time.
Yep.
For all sexual predators.
So here's here's my position. Okay, this is what I want the entire investigation to hinge on.
Mm-hmm.
Kevin Spacey and John Lasseter aren't from this time, okay? Or maybe they are from this time, and somehow they went back into time and adopted some of the cultures, some of the cultural norms of that time. So Kevin Spacey goes back to ancient Greece and gets really into, you know, like sexing up little boys because that's, you know,
Whenever he feels like it.
Right?
Right.
And then John Lasseter, he goes to 1666, and you know it's the Renaissance, and he's touching women. He's seeing a lot of naked women on not on camera, on film, what he's making, but on paintings. And so I think that they kind of used their time travel, kind of like Bill and Ted.
I see.
To kind of manipulate the universe to their liking. And I feel like this past year was like the final like stop. Like everyone stopped them from doing what they were doing. It was bad.
It was bad.
That's what I think. Individually.
Like, what am I gonna wear tomorrow?
I just
not a light up hat.
Yeah.
Friday night, I'm going out to the clubs. Like, what am I supposed to wear?
Mm-hmm.
A hat that doesn't light up?
Are you going to Italy?
I
love it.
I forgot about that poster.
Italy's dope, man.
Yeah, it'll be cool. Be better with a light up hat, but
yeah, you're right. On the plane.
Fit in with the locals, you know.
Yeah. The new style.
Get all those attractive Italian women. That would actually be a really good TV show. Me just macking on Italian women with a light up hat.
Mm-hmm.
Seeing how that goes.
Flashy Mark.
Bella, Bella.
Bellissima.
I love it. Okay. Well, what else do we got for this investigation?
I think I found some ant videos. Like, I have a theory that they also had some like funny business where they did a lot of reshoots on this.
Okay.
Or maybe not reshoots. I don't know, because it's like it was a finished film. I like the idea of them going back.
Well, exactly. So
right.
I feel like a lot of these other people, like Hayden Panettiere, Phyllis Diller, Richard Kind, you know, Dave Foley, all these other people, they're not really like they weren't time travelers. I feel like they were just given the opportunity later on in life by John Lasseter. Okay. Now, here's my idea for this. John Lasseter premiered this movie in 1666, and it won the Oscar. Right? Everyone knows that. That's world history. But I believe that he then took the movie back under his, you know, like his kind of vision, and then worked on it again for another 300 and, you know, some odd years, and then thought everyone forgot about it and then submitted it again to the Oscars. Okay. And then bada bing, bada boom, he wins again. He gets a double win.
Well, no one had the right format to play the film in 1998.
Exactly. You didn't have IMAX in 1998.
Right. It was on too large of a format.
Yeah, too large.
So that's one of the things that I think this movie has. It's a false flag twice, because you can't show a movie and then 300 years later, because everyone died, show the same movie and expect it to win the Oscar, and it won an Oscar. So I feel like he cheated.
He did cheat.
And him and Kevin Spacey, they got a lot to answer to.
It was a double whammy.
You're not supposed to be able to do that. You submit the movie once. Now, like we were talking about before, you can submit a film later, like Premium Rush is doing this year.
Exactly.
The shoe-in, as we like to call it.
Exactly.
Yeah. It's got it.
But you can only do it once. They did it twice because it won the Best Picture in 1666. It's not supposed to be available again.
They can't win again.
I don't know how they got away with this. I'm really upset about it.
It truly is the fact that everyone is dead from the Academy, and so then they have a short, they're like birds. They got a short lifespan. For
Who hosted the Oscar that year?
1666, I think it had to be Shakespeare.
Shakespeare. I was gonna say Billy Crystal.
Oh well, I mean he did do a pretty long run.
He's got
Could have been Billy Crystal. He's got some good stuff.
No, that was probably before City Slickers, so he was probably not as famous. Probably doing some more blue comedy, dirtier jokes.
Dirtier jokes.
He went really family friendly after City Slickers.
That early, you gotta really check out that early like dirty stuff too, because he just is like no holds barred. He lets them have it. It is unreal.
It is gross. It is sick. How down in the guts.
Just jokes about the plague that are just really too soon.
Yeah, super too soon.
He was like the first one to tell plague jokes during the plague.
So he
was ridden out of town, like almost tarred and feathered. Mm-hmm. That's how crass it was and really inappropriate.
And really, if we're talking about the whole tar and feathering incident, that's how Monsters Inc. was started. Okay. Mm. He originally was going to Andy Serkis himself and motion capture his part, but they said that it was too moving for children, and they would cry, and some of them would realize just how insignificant they are too soon, so they had to make it into more of a cartoon. But really, he was the inspiration for Monsters Inc. Billy Crystal. So we can look into that later. But for now, I want to focus on A Bug's Life. Okay, John Lasseter did a lot of bad things in his life, and I believe this movie was one of the first ones. This was the seed that grew into the evil tree that is now Pixar Animation Studios.
Started early.
It started very early.
It's so much earlier than I thought too. Like when we were first tracking it and going through the web of hauntedness of Pixar, I was really taken aback of how far, because I was just a little baby back then. I thought those were fun movies. I really loved them, but even those were haunted.
Exactly. I mean, we already talked about the movie Cars and just how haunted those cars are. And and when you're running on haunted gas, you can only get so far. So I don't know what they expect to, like how far they expect these cars to go, but really they're running on empty. And soon enough, the entire world will know just how empty they are. But Coco was very good, and that's what really troubles me. But it had ghosts in it. So, and a movie that's so brazenly about ghosts just really makes me wonder how comfortable they really think they are,
That's true.
They're not hiding anymore. It's not even like they're not even behind a veil. They're out in the open taking a huge dump in front of everybody. And I don't know. I mean, Coco was good, but what's the cost,
The world.
Exactly. But
I mean, yeah, it's terrible.
I mean, but here's the thing. We're getting away from the point because and I feel like this may be John Lasseter's whole MO, is that he made so many good, movies and so many good choices that you can sometimes forget about all the terrible things he did, like A Bug's Life. So let's get back to The Bug's Life.
Okay, I would like to do a little history lesson. So it's the year 1665. Movies were made a bit differently back then. One, there wasn't there weren't any cars. It was horse and buggies. No lights, not like that. It'd be a candle, lots of candles. Lots of rope. So I actually have a picture of the shooting of Bug's Life, just so you guys get an idea of what, like, a gritty, it was tough. They put a lot of work into this. And you can see just like all the work that's going into the filming. There's a
wow. Can you please explain this for the podcast listeners, Mark?
Certainly. There's director John Lasseter, and those are the animators on the ground. I think they're taking a break from drawing right now.
Yes.
But they didn't even have desks back then. They had to do a lot of drawing on the cobblestones. And the guy with the big hat is the producer, wearing a traditional producer's hat of the time.
And the cane, the producer's cane.
Exactly.
Used to smite interns with.
Yes, precisely. And then down there, the guy on the ground with his mouth open is actually the voice actor for Flick. And that's the way they recorded voice actors back then, is they would scream it to the heavens. And they'd set up a big an awning, and they would catch the words into the awning and made.
I think you're talking about Dave Foley. Yeah, that's the actor Dave Foley.
Dave Foley.
Yeah.
Who played Flick.
Exactly.
Really tragic, though, about Dave Foley is 3 years later, he got the plague and died. So his IMDb page is rather short.
But he'll live on forever, because they actually named the technique of when they sat on his chest and to make the noise for the film. It's nowadays we call it Foley effects. And that's where it comes from, for Dave Foley, to commemorate him.
Yeah, check it out on IMDb.
Rest in peace, Dave.
Rest in peace.
There he is.
Rest in peace, buddy.
He was a pretty smart dresser for 1660.
Yeah, and this is actually a painting of his posthumously done by Leonardo da Vinci.
Oh,
and you can really tell the joy and his smile. It says it all. It says, I worked hard, I lived hard, and I played hard. And you can't ask for a better life.
Fully.
So I think what the director was doing is bugs were just such a part of everyday life. I mean, bugs everywhere. And so what he wanted to do is kind of similar to what Shakespeare was doing at the time, and just go with what was going on around him. And at the time, there were lots of bugs. So
because it was dirty back then.
Very dirty.
I would imagine that any time before the year 2000 was a shithole. So that's just the truth. That's just what I believe. You can say what you want, but if I would be anywhere in the world, it would be anywhere after the year 2000, after Y2K.
Yes, but Gio is also a young man. So if there's older persons out there that can live tweet in, let us know what it was like before 2000, just to verify. Because I do believe it probably was a shithole, but we don't really have,
we have no idea.
Experience.
The geezers out there they don't know how to use the Twitter. They don't know how to use their stupid email. They lost the password, and they don't even have Wi-Fi. So you're wasting your breath, Rob.
I mean, so anyhow, the movie gets made, and it's a big hit. Let me just read some reviews of the film.
66 reviews. Now, this is some classic stuff.
These are some good. These are some reviews of the film when it came out, and just to show you how excited people were. So this was in comparison to the film. With God, you are stronger than your struggles and more fierce than your fears. A Bug's Life provides comfort and strength to those who trust in it. Be encouraged, keep standing, and know that everything's going to be all right. That was Germany Kent, just delighted with A Bug's Life, which I mean,
Of course.
gave a 5-star review.
So this movie was loved in 1666. That's not
Mm-hmm.
debatable.
Yeah,
It was the best picture. It was hands down, which is why it's so egregious that they thought that they could just bring it back in the 90s and pretend like the movie never happened.
And I want to point a finger. Okay, I think it's time that I start pointing fingers. The first finger that I'm going to point is at Robert Downey Jr. Okay, now this has nothing to do with this movie, other than the fact that I believe that Robert Downey Jr. has a lot of say in Hollywood today. Okay, and I just wanted to say that sometimes when you have a lot of power, you have a lot of influence, you let things slip behind you. Okay, you take a role in order to get some money. You donate money to a certain think tank, and suddenly you get a whole briefcase of money on your doorstep. Okay, the things that RDJ are doing is unfathomable. So I just want to point a finger real quick at Robert Downey Jr. and just say, you're on notice. I'm watching you, bud. But when it comes to this movie, I do feel like he has a lot of say in Pixar. It's just he's behind the scenes, and I can't prove it yet, but I will find a way. But as far as this movie is concerned, I want to talk about Kevin Spacey.
Well, I think that brings up a good point, Gio, and I think this is something we've been talking about, and I think this is something that all of you can look forward to. I think, Gio's alluding to is the Disney vault, and we need to find a way to break in.
Exactly. Now, I believe that Robert Downey Jr. has the code to the Disney vault. He's been working with, associated with Marvel, who is now a subsidiary of Disney. So
Surprise.
He absolutely has the keys to the Disney vault. If we can get his cooperation, or if somebody can make a clone of a key to the Disney vault, one of his assistants, I know you watch the show, if you can get a key to us, we can get in the Disney vault just for 30 minutes, and that's all the evidence that we need. Okay? But Kevin Spacey, in this movie, I believe he is the reason John Lasseter submitted it twice, because he's greedy. So here's my theory, okay? And I want to say this is a theory because I have tested this in the lab, and I have gotten the same results in different times, okay? Now, I believe personally that John Lasseter and Kevin Spacey were time travelers, okay? They traveled in time back to the year 1666. They also traveled back to the year of ancient Greece, so BCs, okay? They were in the BCs. They were talking to Socrates, but they called him a different name. They called him Socrates, okay?
Socrates.
That's actually the correct pronunciation. We've got it wrong for this whole time. It's Socrates.
Exactly.
And that's what he preferred to go by.
So they called him by his name, and that's so important. And their journey would have been fine had Kevin Spacey not have gotten greedy. Now, for a moment, they were trapped in the year 1666, and they assumed lives of just normal lives. John Lasseter decided to make the most ambitious movie he'd ever made in his entire life. And he did, and Kevin Spacey helped. But Kevin Spacey was greedy and knew how much money they could make in 1998. So they resubmitted the movie because of Kevin Spacey and because Robert Downey Jr. did not say anything to stop them. Okay? Because silence is the same thing as violence.
That's true. And the thing is when Bug's Life came out for the first time in 1660, Renaissance, France, and it was called La Vie en Bug, which roughly translates to A Bug's Life. So, just a little tidbit there.
That's a fun fact, and that's true.
Trivia.
So, and one of the sad parts about this movie is the fact that there was such an achievement done in 1666, and it kind of dampens it, the fact that they released it 300 years later, because then other movies were kind of finally doing the same thing.
Yeah, they caught up to it.
They finally caught up to it. But the thing was that all it was that John Lasseter had a very powerful computer that Da Vinci made, I believe. That's
correct.
my guess. I can only imagine how they made this movie at the time. But the graphics that they had to make in that time in 1666, it had to be impossible, right?
Well, just think of it like a flip book that you gotta just like make 1,000 pages of, and then times 1,000 to make it the size of an IMAX screen, and just like doing it all by hand in candlelight and fully being pressed on this whole time as well. And think about like the amount of time people think of doing like voiceover work being really quick and easy. Back then it was hard because they had to do it as they were flipping the pages.
Is that true, Mark? Or, I mean, I don't know how they did this movie. I wasn't there. John Lasseter.
Maybe you should study, Gio, the ancient arts.
I
Non-ancient.
wish I could, but
What was that question? I missed it. I'm sorry. You guys were coming out. The connection's not great.
Doubting the validity of my research
We're
and my
debating-
thesis papers.
we're debating how this movie was made. I believe it was a hyper supercomputer that John Lasseter himself had help with Da Vinci.
Well, I don't. Yeah,
And
they
Rob here is saying that this is the work of a man, not a machine.
well, they didn't have computers back then, so I think I might have to side with Rob. But what they did have was swords. There was swords back then.
Okay.
There was scrolls. In fact, IMDb back then, there was no World Wide Web. Remember that? It was just a scroll. And then
And
once
what-
you
what
were in a
about
film, Da Vinci?
Da Vinci invented lots of stuff, guys. You guys don't know that he didn't invent the internet. You guys don't know that he didn't invent computer graphics and animation at the time. So all of a sudden, you guys are saying a bunch of naysayers kind of talk, and it's like you're not even the people, the investigators, the open-minded investigators that I grew to love.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just saying. This
same
is
Tony
what I
Vinci.
know. This is what I've been taught of how the movies were made back then. Maybe okay, maybe something strange was going on. Maybe someone brought a computer back there, but that's just nothing I ever even heard of before.
You know what? I think both of you guys are kind of right. But when we say computer, we're using the term loosely. We're not meaning computer.
Of course.
About
he just put it
like,
down to his computer.
did you guys see that on the camera? I tried to make it
Yeah.
visible. But we're talking probably like a scroll, 2 torches.
A scroll computer.
Yeah, and
Sure.
like maybe some cow shit. And
Kind of like a player piano almost, right?
Exactly.
yeah, exactly.
An animated player piano. It could be something like that. It could be a dozen of those. All I'm saying is that Da Vinci had his thumb on the scale of the future, and he was pushing towards a certain direction. And I feel like a lot of people threw away a lot of his inventions because they didn't understand them at the time.
Have you guys heard of the myth of the missing notebooks though?
Is this a movie?
No, it's what happened to Da Vinci. He has all these notebooks, his famous notebooks that he was super secret. He would write them backwards so people couldn't read them.
Interesting.
Legend has it that the ones that we have are only a fraction of his total library.
Exactly.
He had so much stuff stashed away, things that he invented. He invented parachutes and airplanes and tanks.
And probably Wi-Fi.
Who knows?
Mm-hmm.
Who knows?
Maybe, and the thing is, okay, so here's my position. Why are we even talking about this movie in the first place? Right? Why? Because we believe that this movie is haunted.
Correct.
Right? Am I right? Am I wrong?
It's got serious haunted vibes around it. Yeah.
1666, 1666. This year
I'm spooked.
was a dangerous year. It came out and it won the Oscar because it was an evil and misguided year. Also, it was a feat of technological grace, but at what cost? Who did it? Da Vinci. Now, Vinci, Vinci, okay? It almost kind of sounds like devil, okay? Da Vinci devil. It's almost the same if you really think about it. And
I think if you do like an ambigram, it will work.
somebody can do it for us. I'm not certified to do anagrams here, but what I am certified is to make assumptions that I believe that Da Vinci was inspired by or in cahoots with the devil, and whatever he did made this movie evil. The animation itself is evil, and it somehow convinced Kevin Spacey to show itself again 300 years later. So I mean, I don't know what is in this movie. All I know is that it is an ancient evil that Da Vinci himself put in there. That's what I believe.
So on that, I think I have something to share with the group, and I think it's really important that we take a look. This is a old archive footage that when I was doing some research, I found out there was some original footage from this film that they did not include in it. So this has never been seen, not even in 1666. This is some cutting room floor stuff. So I'm going to show it to you guys. And we're just going to see how it goes. And maybe, I had some bad vibes about it, so I kind of shut it off real quick. So I please get some gear on.
It's on.
It was given to me in very mysterious circumstances that I'd rather not go into right now, but just know this is potent stuff.
Okay. And for the podcast listeners, I just put my my glasses on. They're protectors, and Mark has his own on as well.
Okay, here we go.
Oh my God.
That's scary.
Yeah. Pretty spooky, right?
Wow. Oh my God. Now they're showing ants, the heads of ants. Podcast listeners. A colony of ants fighting with some kind of tarantula or daddy long leg.
Oh, no, wait, what's going on? Ah! No, the ants!
What's happening?
They're everywhere! No, the ants!
Rob.
No, they are crawling all over me.
Close your mouth, Rob. They'll go in your mouth. Oh my God. They're crawling in his nose. Somebody get 911. Are you allergic?
Very.
Chew them in your mouth. Okay. Oh my God. Rob has just gone offline. I think he's being eaten alive. Or either that or having some kind of strange treatment having to do with some kind of ants. I'm not sure exactly what's happening.
I'm going to miss him.
Wait.
Oh, he's back. Hi, Rob.
Guys.
Rob.
What?
Where are the ants?
What happened? The ants?
The ants. You were covered in ants.
I was?
You were covered in ants. Yes, of course. We saw all the ants surrounding you. No.
We were just watching the video.
What?
Didn't look like that.
Something happened, and now I'm here.
You're in the same place, no?
I don't know, guys. I'm not feeling good about what just happened. I think we're dealing with some serious magic.
Guys, we just experienced a temporal shift in our dimension. Something evil is afoot, and I believe it is A Bug's Life. Showing that footage from A Bug's Life, that behind the scene, never before seen footage, must have triggered something in the demonic presence in the movie. It woke it up. Rob, are you okay?
I think I'm going to be all right. I just don't know what just happened. I feel like I just skipped a beat. We were watching the video and I went out and now I'm here.
I can't. All I can say is that I saw you covered in a lot of ants, and I saw you choking, and frankly, I never want to see that again.
Are you okay, Rob?
If you say that didn't happen to you, then I'm okay with saying that didn't happen to you either.
Guys, I think this is a real wake-up call for me as well. I thought I was progressing so much after returning from the ghost dimension, but obviously I'm starting to regress. And, just these glasses alone, I don't think that's going to cut it anymore. I need some more protection.
You're right.
And Rob, if I've learned anything from Ghost in the Scene, it's that history repeats itself. And I worry that you're going to make this movie again. And it wouldn't be the first time. It wouldn't be the second time. It wouldn't be the third time. It would be the fourth time. Let me slap some history on you. 100 years later, after Bug's Life comes out, the year is 1766.
Okay.
A young colonist by the name of Benjamin Franklin, you might know him, gets the idea to put a little tweak on the Bug's Life film. This was for DreamWorks Pictures, of course. He puts out a new movie called Ants.
Of course.
Oh,
Yes.
But
Ants.
I've heard about this one.
it's the same thing. But
spelled
somehow
like a Z with a Z as well,
ants. And
which
then
is a very evil way to spell ants.
then we skip forward about a little over 100 years. In fact, it could even be, between 100 and 200 years. Math can be tough for me. So the year was 1915. A young Rockefeller, the young steel baron in New York, 1915, encounters young comedian Jerry Seinfeld and makes a fun movie, this time about bees.
A B movie.
A bee movie.
Movie.
And the cycle continues because it's been over 100 years. Rob, are you going to make A Bug's Life again?
I mean,
And why is the ghost... What's happening? And why is the Ghost Run Media keep on repeating itself every 100 years? Why bugs?
an ant movie, you say? You know, I wasn't considering it before, but when you say it so convincingly, I think that sounds like a good idea. Thank you, Mark.
Mark, what you've just done is you're a shill. You're a shill for the Ghost Run Media, Mark. You just you incepted Rob into making
didn't
the
do
videos
it.
Ants are
about Bug's
great.
Life.
I think people need to see more movies about ants.
No. Don't do it, Rob.
We're on a bug watch.
Oh, maybe there's other bugs to cover. That's a good point, Mark. Maybe ladybugs.
No.
Like a
Wait a
girl's
minute.
trip with ladybugs.
There's a movie called Lady Bird.
Oh.
Now maybe it's because Ladybug was taken, which is why they called it Lady Bird.
They do have little wings on them, right?
This could be a bug.
I just don't think...
Is Lady Bird
I-
a bug movie? Is what I want to know.
We need to
There was
look
no
into this.
bugs.
I didn't see it, so I have no idea. But Mark, you're saying there's no bugs in Lady Bird, which is maybe Ladybug.
Yeah, there wasn't. No bugs.
Okay.
We're safe.
Okay. Well, for this right now, that was 2016. In 2017. 2018, we have to look out for all new bug movies. Rob,
Yeah.
okay, and this is something maybe on the brighter side for you, Mark. Even if Rob were to start production on his movie today, he wouldn't be able to finish in time for Christmas because it's not gonna happen. He's not gonna have all the editing, all the production. It's gonna take too long for casting.
All the comedic actors to do the voices.
Exactly. If you want, what's his name, Cal Massey. If you want Raven Simone. If you want, the Cheetah Girls.
I think you're underestimating the power
That's
of who Rob Thomas knows in this town. All right? Just mark my words, guys. There's going to be a bug movie by the end of this year, and you're going to love it.
No.
Hillary Duff's a hard person to get on the phone. Okay, Rob, I've tried.
But
Okay.
So start now, begin and get on hold and wait your turn.
Well, I mean, maybe that's when you called, you know?
be careful, Rob. There's four horsemen of the apocalypse, and this would be the fourth bug movie that Hollywood's produced. And that, do you want to trigger the end of the world, Rob? Do you want that on your head?
Horsefly, the movie.
No.
I like where you're going with that.
I'm not on board with either stopping or accelerating the apocalypse. I believe there's a natural course for this world, and it has to go one way or another. And I'm not going to stop it. I'm not going to start it. there are ghosts that I have to expose before this night is over, before my life is extinguished, if you know what I'm saying. I need to fight a spiritual war with ghosts. I don't care about the apocalypse. You know what I'm saying? I have a cause, a spiritual cause. This movie should be burned. Should have been burned
Burn 'em
300 years
all.
ago. We have to be on watch. We have to be vigilant. If there's a bug movie that comes out this year, we have to protest.
Unless it's made by me, I think you should all pay some money to go see it. It's going to be great. It's
course.
already
Well,
getting great reviews.
That's the problem. They're too good. Like all these movies are really good, and that should be the first red flag when you're watching Ants. When you're watching a B movie, you're like, "This is amazing! Like
This is too good.
this is too good."
Yeah,
Jerry Seinfeld's a bee, a smart talking bee. Like
and he has
It
to
just
go to
writes
work.
itself.
You know what's sad about this is that everybody in all those movies, they all have to go to work, you know, and frankly, that's a dystopian society where everybody has a job and everybody wants to work. I don't want to live in that world, and John Lasseter wants you to live in that world with Kevin Spacey, and those guys, they already took a hike because they knew it was good for them. But everybody else involved with this movie and the movie itself, they still need to be stopped. Pixar, I'm sorry, but I need to relinquish my fan card. I have to say that even though you brought Billy Crystal's Crazy Life to the big screen in a Monsters Inc. and a Monsters Inc. Monsters University, I can't roll with you anymore. I can't be your fan because you are making evil movies and you're keeping them around and you're hiding them in your vault. And we want to know what's in that vault.
So again, if anyone has like access to like a key card or something, I know you're out there. That's such a big organization as well. We need to get into this vault and crack it open and get all those secrets for
destroy
ourselves.
all the copies of A Bug's Life.
Mm-hmm. And Robert Downey Jr. or Chris Evans, any of the Avengers, for all of our fans, reach out to the Avengers and ask them if they have the key to the Disney Vault, and then see if we can get them to give us the key just for 30 minutes. All we have to do is just find all the copies and burn them to the ground. That's all we got to do. So I think this case is closed. I believe that there are ghosts in this movie. I'm gonna give it. I'm gonna give it at least if there's 100. Let's see how many minutes are in this movie.
And you have to think of like an entire ant colony, which could be thousands of ants, and you would have to assume that every single one of them is haunted.
So it's 95 minutes. 95 minutes long. I'm gonna say there is at least 40 ghosts per minute. That's a lot of okay.
That's a pretty high GPM.
Exactly. The GPMs on this one are almost maxed out. So for you guys counting at home, whatever those numbers are, it's gonna come up here, bing bong bing, Zango. That's the number that we're looking at, and that's a big number. So what about you guys? What's your count?
What's my count?
Yeah, your ghost count. He's
4.
He's counting with his hands. Okay, good. That's a 4. So 4 ghosts for Mark.
4 too many.
Exactly. Wow. Okay. Yes. That's the spirit. All right. So Rob, what about you?
I don't know, guys. Like something I don't know what it is. Like where my state of mind is. You know, I was going into this investigation very gung ho, and on your side, but for some reason there was like this. I don't know if there's any ghosts in this film.
I think you might be wrong on this one, Rob. I think you might be misguided. I feel like John Lasseter might be getting to you.
I'm not sure what you're talking about, but I mean, I don't know. Sorry, I'm just feeling very conflicted right now. Like something is very jarring, and I feel like I'm not very safe at the moment, guys.
It's just that last week you pulled this whole I'm not advertising for Premium Rush.
No.
Now this week, all of a sudden you're pulling this whole John Lasseter thing. You, sir, you haven't been going to yoga, have you?
I mean, I go when I can.
You haven't been going to yoga,
I go when I can.
and you're all out of line. You're all your chakras. I can see them. You're loosey goosey. They're floating all around you. You're not even in a straight line.
Come on. It's been a rough time
When's
since
the
come
last
back,
time you've done a
guys.
chaturanga dandasana? Is what I want to know.
Last
Or
month.
Fair question.
Last month.
I don't. Yeah, well, you got to do them more often.
Mm.
Because the
Fine.
next time you let a spirit, and when you're doing investigations, spirits will attack you because they want you to stop. Okay, I've had an itch in my inner ear that I've wanted to itch this whole time, but I've refused because I will not let them stop me. But you, my friend, who has not been doing his yoga, Mr. Rob, okay, you've already gone over to the dark side one time by accident. Next time, it won't be an accident. Next time, you'll walk over willingly. And I'm afraid for that day because that's the day you'll stop being my friend and you'll start being my enemy.
Couldn't say it better.
That's some heavy stuff, Gio.
I just had to. I just had to tell you the truth because somebody out there is messing with you, and I'm not gonna let them hurt my friend like that. Not without me.
Okay. Okay. Well, maybe
stepping in there.
I'll do a double Vakra
Yes, please.
upside down
Do
cake
double.
tomorrow.
Yes, do it upside down. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And try to hold your breath. Don't breathe. People tell you to breathe all the time. It's a lie. You're giving away your breath to spirits. You gotta hold your breath.
I'll keep it
That's
to myself.
That's a hot tip for everybody.
All right, fans, stay in the scene. Don't be filming any bugs with camcorders. Don't even think about it.